Aloha, everyone. I'm Sifu Z. This is the Dirty Dojo live session. We pretty much do these every Friday morning, California time at 9:30. We may soon be joined by Sifu Chad out in Colorado. I'm here in the Northern California area in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas, sort of 40 minutes or so west of Lake Tahoe. There we go. It's hard to get out. So good morning to you if you're here in the on the West Coast. Let me introduce you to some of the tools that you might want to implement in the session here. If you're new to the channel, this is a martial art fitness inspired, or rather, fitness martial art inspired fitness. There we go. And so it's a live stream in respect to martial arts and fitness. So we do the first part or the first half of this session we do as what we call an open door. So it's open to the public. This way, if you'd like to ask questions or perhaps chime in on an exercise or a technique, then you're welcome to do so then. So, and the first session is mostly warm up exercise sort of thing. Then we go to the second session, which is private over on patreon.com/cfuz. So if you're interested in training with us on that second half, um, yeah, just contact me and we'll talk. We'll talk. It's a very exclusive sort of group of folks, and I'm only one person, so you just have to make sure that whoever is training with us is the right fit. That's all. Uh, One of the most important training aids that we use here is water. Drink lots of water. It's a drinking show. A second important training aid that we're using here is a sandbag. This is play school sand. It's sand that's been cleaned. It's very important. You don't want dirty sand that could create staph. So very important that you use play school sand. You can get this at any hardware store. And two, not one, but two canvas bags. And a ring. And preferably two of these. So a set of sandbags, but one is good enough for our purposes here. Now, some additional things that if you're Wing Chun, then this season, this summer, will be spring, summer, will be focusing on Bar Jam Do. So you might want to break these out or purchase a pair. As long as they look like this, doesn't matter what they're made of. They even sell polymer sort of plastic versions of this will work just fine. This is a very heavy brass set too. Something else that we've been working with is a ball and string. I won't go into the use of this right now, but there's a lot of really nice coordination exercises that you can do with the old ball and string. Not to mention, you can practice getting out of the way of the punch and parrying, right? Punch and parry, slip and parry, rather. I think that's how they call it. And we also have something else that we've been using is these are called TRX bands, and I have a hook up high on the window or on the door sill. I have a screw hook up there, and then I have one right at shoulder length as well on the other side of here. And these are really excellent, especially for sort of the dynamic compression and tension, uh, isokinetic, isodynamic type of exercises that you can do with this that lend themselves really well to Wing Chun style exercise. So I might go into this. In fact, I am going to go into this. We're going to do some sandbag, and then I'm going to show you some really cool stuff that you can do with this. The TRX bands really help a lot in the same way that weights sort of are tools. In a perfect world, you can just create that tension yourself. However, the tools make it a lot easier. And same thing with the TRX bands. I'm going to show you, or at least introduce you to how you can really feel the grounding using TRX bands. So stay tuned for that. We should only be going about a half hour. We might go a little over. And again, then we go to the private session over patreon.com/SifuZ. And I'm going to start now. We're already almost 8 minutes in. So we're going to do, let's say, 5 minutes. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 5 minutes of sandbag. There we go. Aloha, everyone. Aloha, Kashika, Carter. Aloha, Larry Collier. So this is the sandbag. We're going to do about 5 minutes of sandbag training. This is hand training. In martial arts, the first thing, of course, this is for entertainment purposes only. Train at your own risk. Now, this is for hand training. In martial arts, if you're chances are the first thing that's going to go out is your hands. This way, this way, this way. Well, hopefully not this way, right? Your hands go out first. So you have to have at least somewhat of a developed hand. It doesn't have to be overdeveloped. You don't have to have big old calluses on your fist or anything like that. Just developed enough. And so we don't do this overnight. We do it gradually with just a light tapping. Yeah, not real hard. No, no, that's going to damage your hand. It's going to hurt your hand. So we develop the density in the bones and the tendons and the hand all just gradually. And again, right now we're only doing 5 minutes of sandbag, 5 minutes or so. Sometimes we'll do 10 minutes, but I yapped a little too long. I should have just started sandbag training as soon as I started the live session. I was stalling. We're expecting a guest, but all things being considered with the technologies and what have you, there may be issues. Nahala, aloha. What are these things? Or waves. I've never seen the wave icon before. Now, the way you hit this sandbag, you can hit it open hand, you can hit it knife hand or hammer fist, finger jab, fist, wrist, thumb, and wrist. Again, you're just trying to develop the strength, just some basic strength in your hands. Now, the sandbag kind of feels sort of same density as a body, right? So this is another element of really getting your bare hand really acquainted with this density. If you're wondering what this ring is for, we'll sometimes hang the bag up. Since I'm in a building, I don't want to disturb the other people in the building, so we're just going to hold it. You can also put it on the ground if you have a pillow or something to deaden the sound. You can punch it, but this is probably the most silent and non-disturbing method. That also helps you to strengthen the arm that's holding the sandbag too. So you get a 2 for 1. Elbows. You can also use elbows for this. Help you to develop the elbows. Develop. Now, it looks. I'm watching myself do this. It looks like I'm hitting it too hard. I am. I'm getting carried away. So, yeah, I've been doing this for 100 years or so. I've been doing Wing Chun, and I still get carried away with the sandbag. Yeah, you can tell because it's all turned to dust. Time for me to make a new sandbag. Get a new batch of sand. All right, there we go. Now, like I said, 5 minutes, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes a day on the sandbag is good. If you're feeling any soreness in your hands, well, then stop doing it until that soreness goes away and then lighten up on the sandbag. All right. Now I'm going to show you some very interesting. That is, if I can get up there. Let me see if I can get up there. Now, a little closer look. The TRX bands. You could just use rope and tie loops in the rope. It doesn't have to be this fancy. Yeah, I think these were gifted to me. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I would never buy something like this. Prior to this, I used to use my jujitsu, my gi belt for these types of exercises, and especially for what I'm about to do now. Yeah, you tie rope on one end, tie it to a little hook eye, and well, if you're going to pull directly on it, it should be a big hook eye. I'm using very small hook eyes, and then I'm just using physics. I'm pulling at an angle, so I'm not actually pulling directly out on the hook on this side. And you'll see what I'm about to do in a minute here. Okay. Nice. Fancy newfangled stuff, huh? I'm trying to make these as short as possible so you guys can see what I'm doing. But these are called, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, but these are called pilaf. Pilaf. Um, Anti-rotation something or another's. Yeah. I can make things shorter over here too. Let me do that. The nice thing about these is they're very adjustable. So that's why I like these. So in effect, we have just something that we can pull on. You could even use the door itself. You don't even need these. This is sort of just a nice luxury. All right. So for this exercise, you Wing Chunners and Qi Gunners, you do Chinese grounding type exercises, and you don't know about this, you're going to love this.
Hello. Thought we were gonna start like at 10 your time, 11 my time, so I'm late. So sorry.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
I
You
I
know,
didn't get a timing for it. So
well, you're just fashionably late to the party.
fashionably.
Fashionably late, yes. This is the birthday party dirty dojo stream.
Are you sexy too?
Uh, More so than ever.
What?
More so than ever. So I was just showing these guys. What we just did sandbag training, and now I'm just showing these guys. I think they're called pilafs. Pilafs. I think that's what they're called. But that reminds me of a food. I'm pretty sure there's a food that's called a pilaf as well. Uh, but it lends itself really well to our kind of training. So you could use anything. A door frame you could use. You could use a belt. You can use a rope. I just have these fancy TRX bands, so I'm using this. If you're using a rope or a belt, you can actually be a little bit more dynamic with this. A little bit more dynamic is right because this is a static exercise, but you can add sort of a dynamic element to the static exercise. So let me show you what it is. First, we get into our stance. So heel to heel, and we're doing our Kim Yi Ma stance. And this is Wing Chun now because um, whoever invented or whoever made this version of the exercise popular, they don't add this element to it, which I'm really surprised because it makes all the world of a difference to the exercise. So now on the outside hand, I'm gonna grab this and then put my inside hand around on the outside. So I'm just going to push it out, and I'm using everything I can, all my power, to just pull out this way,
And keep it
right?
center.
Yeah. Now, this is the dynamic way of doing it. Also, you're keeping, again, this is all Wing Chun version of this exercise. You can pull the elbows in, right? Instead of just doing it this way, you can pull the elbows in, which
Yeah.
makes it way more difficult. And so now you're really, I mean, I'm using a lot of energy right now, and
Yeah.
trying not to show it, but but it reminds me of when I first started doing Wing Chun and I would shake.
Hmm.
It reminds me of that because you can now add that much more resistance. You're you have an outside resistance that's forcing you to go harder.
Hmm.
And that was at least 20 seconds. That's about what you want, 20 to 30-second hold on this. So
Okay.
again, I'm doing this, right? And oh, hold on. I'm grabbing from the outside. This is important because you want a nice purchase where you can feel like you're doing this. Yeah.
Right.
And then this, you're you're just pushing, so you don't need as much of a grip on this side. And again, you're in Kim Yuma, elbows in, and your whole core, everything is just flexed. What's very unique about this is it's coming at it from the side, and I think that's kind of interesting because you're going. That's the kind of movement that you want, right?
Yeah.
In other words, here and relax. So, in other words, you're lucky if you can just get even, even, right? Even. You're lucky if you get that. Chances are it's going to be hard on one side, and I don't think hard is really the right word, but like for instance, this is a great thing to understand in martial arts and Wing Chun, rather Wing Chun, very specific, and that is I, s- I I'm all loose here, right? I'm all loose here. I'm all tight here. I'm all tight here. I can be all loose here, right? But now I'm going to
Right.
add those things on top of it, straighten it out. Man, very powerful. So, this kind of training, I have to say, is classic training as far as like training with the belt. Because in judo, there's all these belt exercises that you would do, right?
Right. Yeah.
All
Throws.
these all these pushes and pulls and stuff like that. So it's ancient. This style of training is ancient, but what's old is new. Because
Mhm.
now you see these in all of the gyms. These bands, these TRX bands, you'll see them in all the gyms. Which is really funny fad wise because all you need is a belt or a rope. But that's all right. It's a nice technology. It's got handles. It's got it's adjustable. Yeah, it's got
Mhm.
carabiners. So now the equivalent of this that Chris Chan invented was this, wasn't it?
Yeah. The
Very
Chiso.
similar. I
Yeah.
mean, very similar. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna do round two here, and
Okay.
of this,
I
and then and you can do the Chris Chan equivalent.
Thank you. Okay. I was gonna say I sort of lack a corner in my room.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So you do the Chris Chan equivalent, and so what Sifu Chad's doing is he's doing just resisting. One arm is pushing out, the other arm is pushing in. Right. So instead of this rotation, anti-rotation is what they're calling it. He's actually not doing that. He's doing a different exercise, but it's still in the same realm. Not the same exercise, same realm.
right.
Okay. All right. Now, on this, I'm going to do the dynamic version, which will mimic what Sifu Chat is kind of doing as well. So we're still going to be working in tandem with one another. All right, let's go. One, two, three. Hold it wrong. There you go. Four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, the other side. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Yeah, so if you don't have these or an equivalent of this, I highly suggest it. It's a killer. It's killer. It's excruciating, really. And
Yeah.
if you already do Wing Chun, you've been doing Wing Chun, then it's really gonna suck because you know how to add more. You're adding more to it. You know
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
otherwise you're just standing like this and you're doing this and you're engaging your core, but you're not engaging your core in the same way that we do when we use all of this. Ooh, oh
Right.
man, it sucks. It's a good suck. Um,
Indeed.
yeah, I use just medium-sized hook eyes. I'm not hanging from it, so I don't have to worry about I don't want to be pulling, making big holes in the house here. So I just use medium-sized hook eyes, and then I'm using the physics, right? I'm not pulling on the hook here. I'm pulling on the hook from behind the hook. You see, so So I can really pull hard, and there's hardly any pressure on the actual hook, right? And then
Right.
I have a hook up here, same thing, just medium sized hook. And again, I'm not hanging from it. I'm using it for balance type stuff, for the balance type exercises. Um, I did a new video for the lower body, so that's up on the Patreon site. And so are all of the previous sessions. I noticed I haven't posted any of those sessions. Like the past 3 sessions we did, I haven't posted. So they're now on the archive um, and the private set. I might even make a individual post just just to make it easier to find them. Uh, but anyway, that um, lower body session is now up. I've got one more session to put up, which will be the day one session, which is my favorite session. It's the upper body. Yes. So one more set of these excruciating exercises. Yeah, like I thought, we're going to go just a little over before we go over to the private session. Um, Everyone that is here, if you haven't done so already, subscribe. And if you want to join us over at Patreon, just contact me and we can talk about that. Okay. So, again, grab with the outside hand. And then you're going to support with this. And yeah, I like that, the dynamic, static dynamic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and the other side. 1, 2, 3, elbows in. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Training so hard, I'm gonna pop my earbud out. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, now trust me, what Sifu Chad is doing is just as hard. It's when you do these properly, they suck. This is These are the sorts of exercises that you can do them wrong, you know? You can
Yeah.
just like pretend if you want. I remember when I was a student learning this stuff from Chris Chan, you know, there's the temptation like, man, just take a rest. I've been here for 3 hours doing ceiling tao. Man, just take a little rest. But your mind right away says, well, if you're going to do it, just do it. You're here already, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Just suck up the suck, you know?
Yeah. It reminds me, in our early training days together, when I was, first learning the system and stuff. At first, it was like, rather difficult to sustain the tension during Tao for how many Taos we did. But at a certain point, like when you reached exhaustion and then you broke through that threshold, then all of a sudden, like it felt like you could go harder and stronger.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah,
yeah, it was like surpassing your physical limitation. Once you do reach that point of exhaustion, it's like another thing kicks in your brain where you're just like, no, I have to keep going. I gotta keep going. This time it's stronger, stronger. Like,
yeah. Instead of that sprint mentality, you get the more marathon mentality, but it's
right.
with the strength of a sprint. It's like sprint strength used for marathon.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know. So
indeed.
anyway, with this, I'll just go over one last thing on this, or just reiterate really, and that is what's really interesting about this is this whole isolation thing, because a lot of times we say this is light, this is soft, but those words don't exactly say what I'm trying to get across what I'm trying to say. This band is an example of that, and that is on my left foot is grounded, my right arm is grounded, right? So my this is floating, but it
Yeah,
can also be used, but it also float at the same time. Like I'm really grounded here, all points, but
yeah,
I can loose, and the tension is all still there. No
yeah.
tension has been
It's an
lost.
interesting like cross body tension sort of thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. So this is really valuable because the what's common is you're pushing or you're pulling, right? And this really shows you that you can kind of do all of it all at once. You can do hard, you can do soft, you can do static, you can do dynamic. Perhaps that's the better term, static and dynamic,
Mm,
you know. But you could even do it like here, you can do it against a door jam, right? So it's not like you have to have, but I really feel it better with like a belt or a rope or whatever. But but
yeah.
you do it with a door jam as well, the same concept where
Right.
you're cross grounded. Like I think you use that term. That's a good term, cross grounded.
Mhm.
You know. In fact, you can even change it, right? You can change that grounding, cross ground.
Right.
Yeah, but really valuable stuff, especially when you're talking like an arm drag, right?
Right.
Arm drag lansao. How about futsal lansao? Woo-hoo-hoo! Futsal lansao with yeah. All right. Yeah. Now we're getting into the heavy stuff. So again, if you
Yeah.
haven't done so, subscribe, and we'll see you here next week, same time, same channel, and for the rest of you, for all you members, I'll see you over at at patreon.com/SifuZ. Until next time.